Welcome back to Call of Duty. I've played so many different Call of Duty games on this channel, I kind of lost track of whether or not I've played this particular one. This is 2019's Modern Warfare. I played a little bit of the campaign and a bunch of the multiplayer when this game was new, and now the sequel is about to come out, and I realized I never actually finished the campaign. So I've been playing it in the background a little bit, sort of refreshing the story to myself so that I actually have some context for understanding what's going on in the new game when it comes out. And I'm down to the last mission now. So I thought it might be kind of fun to just jump into the last mission together. Obviously, if you want to play through Modern Warfare 2019 yourself and not be spoiled, don't watch this. This is going to be the last mission. I don't know what happens in the last mission. And so I am unspoiled, and if you would like to remain unspoiled yourself, then, this might not be the video for you. So to give you some context, as I remember, again, I've been playing this campaign over the course of like multiple years, but as I recall, there's some kind of insurgency going on in some made-up Middle Eastern state. There's like some oppressive regime, and we are on the side of the insurgents who are fighting for their freedom. The problem is, you actually played through a mission where you saw sort of the treatment of these insurgents by the regime. You saw them develop some legitimate desire for revenge, and I think one of the insurgents launched a chemical attack against the Russian backers of the regime, and so they used chemical warfare on Russia, which is a thing that causes political problems. I think that the U.S. and Britain have disavowed these insurgents now, they're no longer supporting them, but there is still this chemical factory in Russia that is supplying this regime. So I think if I'm remembering all of that right, I think that this mission is I'm playing like one of these special ops guys from the West who is collaborating with these insurgents to invade Russia and destroy this chemical factory. I think, if I remember right, what's going on. So there's the background. I don't know where this is going, but I guess we'll find out together. One thing to bear in mind, let me just restart the mission from the beginning. One thing to bear in mind is that this was made in 2019, and so most of what's been going on recently with Russia had not happened yet when this game was made. And so the context is just entirely different. I've got no idea whether that will be relevant, but, worth mentioning. Let's just play regular. So it used to be that whenever a new Call of Duty came out, I would always play it on veteran. Like, I want the realistic, one bullet and I'm dead kind of scenario. And that was when I had a lot more time in my life to replay the same sequence again and again until I perfected it. I don't have that kind of time. I want to see the story. So here we go. I'm a regular. Here we go.
Captain, please, give Farah the plans, tell her the truth. We'll have a chance to tell the whole world. I don't care about the world. I did this for my sister.
Faceplate to 06. Friendly air traffic approaching south of 180. Call sign is Watcher 1.
Copy. It's Laswell.
What's she doing here?
I smell blood.
I'm gonna skip this. Haha. You don't have any context to understand that anyway. So. Now we're invading Russia. That's the fun part.
Bell's run. Let's see who's on. Perimeter's open, Kate. We're moving in.
Handing off strict control to you now, 3-1. Air assets are all yours.
Copy.
How is the audio balance? Can you hear me over what's going on?
Smart. Watch your out.
Back up.
Jaguar 47, 3-1, call for fire.
Echo, Jaguar is ready for tasking. Mark your target.
What kind of target should I... Oh, is this good guys or bad guys? I don't know.
Enemy helicopter inbound. Take it down.
Is that the enemy helicopter? I hope that was the enemy helicopter. I would hate to be a source of friendly fire. Can I just designate anything I want? Yes, I can. Oh, guys on the tree line. Can I just designate them too? shoot. That's kind of disturbing how easy this is. Oh, shoot. Shooting me. Ah. So, yeah, part of the context of this is the fact that Modern Warfare 2 is coming out on November 10th, I believe. Somebody in the chat was asking about that. And normally I play Call of Duty games primarily for the multiplayer. I like to play the campaign just to sort of see what they're doing, particularly because these campaigns tend to be some of the, you know, they've got very high production values, and it's really good to sort of see, like, the state of the art, like, what people expect from campaigns like this. Oh, shoot! You saw that, right? They just ran right in front of me. All right, let's,
Echo, Jaguar is ready for tasking. Mark your target.
oh, wait, where is my designator? It's right there, right? Oh, no! Anyway, yeah, so Modern Warfare 2 is coming out soon, in a little less than a month, and I just kind of wanted to remind myself what's going on here in the campaign. The campaign is not the most important part for me. I tend to play primarily multiplayer Call of Duty, but I do like to check it out for the production values and stuff. Okay, hopefully my friends aren't going to just get in my way this time. Oh, see, that guy. Gotta watch for that guy. He's weird. There we go. And so I played the, oh, can I just designate that? Yes, I can. Cool. We got some very destructible stuff going on here. Uh-oh. Now the helicopter comes in, now that my laser stopped working. Let's see if I can flank these guys. Crap. Running away from the grenade. Okay, it looks like I might have lasers back. More lasers. Oh no, he got away. Guess I gotta save that instead of just using it for everything. Or not, you know, whatever. Ah! Who's shooting at me? Stop shooting me, you jerk. Here. Take that. Oh, whoops. Oh, I'm a terrible shot. Luckily, I'm a superhero who can take lots and lots of gunshots and still live.
At the tree line.
Okay, you know what? I'm tired of this freaking sniper rifle. Alright, let's, fire a missile right there. I genuinely have no idea how people in actual firefights do, like figure out who's friendly and who's not. You must have to be so incredibly coordinated to know where your guys are. So you don't just, like, shoot your own people all the time. Because I'm struggling to identify the Russians. Is that a Russian? Yes. Okay. But I can only tell he's a Russian because I didn't get punished for punching him in the face. Is this where I want to be? I think there's a button I can push. Oh, checkpoint reached. Must be where I was supposed to be. Hello. Oh, it's quiet. What is that? Is that for me? Wait, no, I don't want to, like, have a minigun instead of my useful gun. Oh, can I designate this guy? Nope, he's dodgy. There we go. That's what the minigun was for. So, Stevo143 wants to know if this is worth buying. Stevo, if you play multiplayer, then probably not, actually. You probably want to wait for the new one to come out and play what everybody else is playing. if you like this kind of game primarily for the campaign, then yeah, then actually getting this might be smart to sort of prepare for the campaign of 2. The problem is Call of Duty games actually retain their value longer than typical games. At least historically they have. I don't know if that's changed recently, but I remember, like, you know, so many games within the first year, they drop significantly in price as soon as they're not the hot new thing. But Call of Duty games, because they're just sort of the state of the art for a certain breed of shooter, there isn't really a good replacement for the experience. Players who like this kind of game don't have a lot of options, so they can retain their value for a really, really long time. And so Activision doesn't tend to just rush to reducing the cost. So that's the main thing that would make you sort of hesitate to tell you it's definitely worth a buy, because, you know, other people are not going to be playing the multiplayer, and I don't know that the price is going to be any lower for this being an older game. I haven't looked into it. It could be that because this is from 2019, that's 3 years, that might be long enough for it to be cheaper now. But I haven't done my research, because I did buy this. I did buy this on day 1, so I bought it at full price 3 years ago. Okay, so Cogs is saying the game is probably too loud. I wanted you to be able to hear the dialogue, but if it's too loud to hear me, let me pull it down a few decibels and see if that's any better. Thanks for letting me know, Cogs.
Echo team, this is your start line. Fight your way to Nikolai for the charges.
Oh, yes. This is a gas factory. Gotta have a gas mask.
You're well armed for a lab. Everyone, fan out! What's up?
Oh, gosh. Hopefully that will protect me. Yes. It's so funny that in video games, the way you detect the enemy, and this is true in a... Oh, that's a friend. This is true in a lot of video games. You detect enemies by taking one gunshot, surviving it, and then orienting on whoever shot you. Which is, you know, that works for superheroes. Are these bad guys? Okay. What the... How armored are you? That works for superheroes. You can imagine Superman doing that. It's a little funny. It's a little funny that we've got purportedly regular humans doing it.
Moving up, second level.
Wait, are these... I can't tell if these... Okay, green means Russia, right? No, wait, no. Because there are, like, green headdresses on my allies, right? Oh, crap. I'm dead. Steva143 wants to know what my favorite Call of Duty is. That's a good question. I think the original Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, not the 2019 and 2022 versions, but the original ones, before the sort of the flight from Infinity Ward, were probably my favorite. I mean, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare basically invented a lot of what we expect from modern shooters, and it just had these what the? Okay, had these really innovative, memorable levels, like, you know, the sniper level and stuff. But really, I think if I had to pick between the two of them, it's probably Modern Warfare 2, because it had probably one of the most, like, exciting, kind of rapturous video game moments I've ever experienced. Which is, you know, Modern Warfare 2 depicts a Russian hardliner faction invading, like, taking over the Russian government and then invading the United States. Oh, that's Farah. And the United States is on its back foot. It's looking really bad. And then we have this one, are these friends? Okay. And then this crazy guy steals a nuke
Alex,
and launches it at the United States, and you're like,
get their charges.
what is happening? Like, he's supposed to be your ally. It's the guy that where is Price here? So it's Price, which is like one of the famous characters from the game. Price goes and launches a nuke at the United States. You're like, okay, the United States is already on its back foot, and now Price has gone crazy and he's launching a nuke at them. But no,
Back up the van, hurry.
he uses it as like an EMP basically to knock out the Russian mechanized forces, and then the insurgent U.S. on the ground turns the tide
Alex, get their charges in the
and
van.
and takes the White House back over again. And that was such an exciting moment for me, like, because the twist of figuring out that he's not crazy, that he's actually rescuing the United States,
Quickly, get their charges.
and then I get to go in and have that moment of turning the tides. It was amazing. It was just really like, if you're looking for that sort of like heroic, the things that that probably
Back up the van, hurry.
inappropriately glorify warfare by creating these rapturous moments of glory. If you're looking for that feeling, hard to beat Modern Warfare 2. Now,
Alex, get their charges in the van.
you might not want that feeling.
The detonator will start the chain reaction.
Load the furnace, the rest follows.
Correct. Don't lose it.
Why help us?
Barkov is a stain on my country. It will not stand.
Спасибо, Nikolai.
I'll take the rest to Price and Sergeant Garrick. See you on the other side.
So yeah, there's a lot of arguments to be made that emphasizing that experience of warfare is a bad idea. But okay, Dragon's Breath. But they certainly did an effective job of it. Okay, who? Okay, yes. Oh no. Crap. Okay, let's. Ah. Shoot, there's a bunch of these guys. Well, I guess you guys shouldn't have brought Dragon's Breath if you didn't want to be shot by it. How's that for a plan? You set my friend on fire, I set all y'all on fire. Now, oh, was this not where I was supposed to go? This is just a spawner closet? Okay, fine. What is this? It's a button, I must have to shoot it. Or press it. I don't know where I'm going. Where am I going? Through here, Alex. Where are you, Farah? Over here. Oh, okay. What? I guess this was the way I was supposed to go. I just didn't get it. Oh, I can open this. Ah! Or somebody will. Oh! Ow! Wish I brought that frickin' minigun. Wait, what does this do? Is he gone? Stop it! I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to do with this guy. Oh, okay. Fire and explosions are particularly effective against juggernauts. Good to know. Get away from me, you jerk. Okay. Stop! Don't hit me! Ah! Ah! Okay, well, I'm out of fire and explosions, so, hope bullets will work too. What the heck? Did we get him? Oh, hey. Yeah. Take that, Hurt Locker.
Didn't leave this lying around.
All right, let's keep our incendiary thing. I think we got some more ammo for it. What is this? Oh, I could have gotten more frag grenades in here. All right, here we go.
Father, we've got a problem.
What is it?
Echo, this is actual. How copy?
Send traffic actual.
Got eyes on General Barkov. I say again, Barkov is moving to the helipad.
Echo's approaching the furnace now, actual.
Set your charges and move.
Roger, Echo out. You heard him. Let's get it done.
I'm not sure what I'm doing. What am I doing? Reaching the furnace is what I'm doing. Okay.
The furnace is through here. There's the door.
On it.
There's sparkles in the air. That makes me think it's radioactive from playing Vigor.
Clear. What happened?
Oh, by the way, Mark just showed up in the chat, and apparently he was telling me during that Juggernaut fight that I had a grenade launcher on my rifle. I had no idea. Thank you for telling me. I'll have to keep that in mind for later.
Detonator's fucked.
It's dead. I'll go in there.
And do what?
Ignite the furnace.
You'll never get away in time.
I know what I'm doing.
Don't make her do it.
Listen to me.
No, you listen to me. Because of this poison, my people have known something worse than war. I did not come this far to turn back.
I'm not asking you to turn back. I'm asking you to give me the order.
I won't do that.
Commander, please.
I am not your CO.
Then who is? Because someone needs to light this fire and someone needs to kill Barkov. And you can't do both. I've been an assignment my whole life. This is what I believe in. Give me the order.
You are a freedom fighter, Alex.
You're a born leader, Farah. Say the word.
So Mark just made another comment. He said that he dislikes seeing recognizable actors in video games. So Farah here is played by an actress who I believe was in what was that time travel show? What was it called? I don't know. I think I recognize her from that. And I don't recognize the dude who Stevo143 called Beaver Face. I'm gonna just leave that alone, actually. But that's an interesting. Yeah, I mean, when you're in a video game, you know, obviously, if you're gonna have the character running around in a 3D world, you can't just capture their face. You know, like you have to 3D model them, and you have to, you know, and they have to have that little bit of that uncanny valley feeling where they don't look quite like the actor, but they're almost there. So I can see that being sort of a weird, off-putting feeling, like you want to see only faces that feel like they belong in that world. I still kind of, you know. For me, I actually tend to enjoy seeing things that are not quite right because it just feels like, oh, we're getting closer and closer. There's sort of this thrill at like walking the edge of something being viable, but not even if it's not quite there yet. So I actually kind of enjoy seeing recognizable actors' faces in video games, but I totally see where you're coming from, Mark. Oh, that's right. Timeless is what it's called. And you're right. And she was cast in The Boys more recently. I forgot about that. So yes. Yeah, so she is definitely a recognizable actress. And there we go.
Go.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm so glad they didn't make Farah sacrifice herself.
Good luck.
It's such a common trope to have, like, you know, the representative character from a non-Western culture be the one who nobly sacrifices themselves because they're treated as expendable. Not a big fan of that. She's actually really needed to lead her people the rest of the way after this one mission is over.
Bravo, Echo is set at the furnace.
She's
Farah's going for the general.
Roger, Echo.
Yeah.
Fly into the pipeline now.
You said, Sergeant.
No ROEs now, huh, Captain?
None at all. Stolen away that sniper.
Yeah, so she is not expendable in this world. And treating her as expendable would actually be, yeah, a really bad move. Oh, take that. Is that a bad guy? You know what? Maybe I didn't want to do a cute, clever animation when I first got this weapon out in the middle of combat. These guys can take a fair amount of hits. So one thing I really liked that they introduced in this game, I think they introduced it in this one, was mounting to cover. So you can see this little double line that appears next to a wall. If you aim and click the right stick, you can bind to it, which really increases your recoil control. Makes it much easier to control automatic fire. I used it all the time in multiplayer in Vanguard. I don't remember using it a ton in Modern Warfare's multiplayer, but honestly, it's been so long, I don't remember Modern Warfare's multiplayer at all. I remember one of the great innovations in the original Call of Duty 4. Whoa, what was that? Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Oh, shoot! Was shooting through materials? And there's still kind of a special pleasure that comes from that. Actually, my favorite recent kill in Vigor was one where I, they have bullet penetration too. And one of my recent, oh, speaking of Vigor, I want to get some metal parts out of that. Or, no, wait, that's nails. I want to get some nails out of that. Anyway, I opened the safe. I started opening the safe. And then I backed off to see who would be attracted to that. And after I backed off, somebody came in and started trying to steal my safe. And I could see them in the cracks between the barricades on the barred in the barred house. And so I just shot them straight through the barricade. They had no idea what hit them, and that made me feel very clever. Okay, I assumed this was the way I needed to go, but I guess not. Okay, down there. That's where I need to be. Well, I'm so glad I came up here then. Oh, shoot! Oh, no, you don't.
Bravo, on me. Pipe sleep this way. Let's get this done.
Yes, sir.
That seems like it was a bad tactical move on their part. Well, this place seems peaceful.
All right, set the charges. Let's go.
What charges? Oh, right here?
Plan your charge and go, Kyle.
Pipeline charge is hot.
Uh-oh.
Fucking out. Farah, Nikolai, where are you? Мне все равно, сколько сейчас времени. С Москвой мне связь! Быстро! Say again. Barkov is wheeled up. Скажите им это, генерал Барков. Меня не будут оперировать.
What?
Сколько сейчас времени.
What?
С Москвой мне связь!
Why is she here?
Вот. Рим. I should have known.
Oh. Well? Let's hope that was a failure.
Оперировать.
I've got eyes on.
Сколько сейчас времени. С Москвой мне связь! Быстро! Скажите им это, генерал Барков. Меня не будут оперировать.
Oh no, my face! Oh, grab the knife, grab the knife! Yes! Stab him again! Oh yes, more stabbings! No! You don't get a gun. I think this guy and his people, like, tortured the heck out of me, and my allies, and my brother, and so this is why I'm so angry. That's pretty gross, but,
I told you, father, a long time ago. Your country breeds terrorists.
I am not a terrorist. I am Karim.
haha, take that.
What's the status?
Captain, Barkov is dead.
Roger that. Alex, charges set?
Affirmative, sir.
Alex,
Okay, so Karim, I think, was the name, like a code name that she used as the leader of this rebellion, and trying to identify who Karim was a thing that people were being tortured over earlier on in the story. But Mark just after she killed that guy, and I said I am Karim, he says Karim rises to the top. And I'm sorry, I just had to repeat that. Coalition is pointing out that in the wake of the Ukraine invasion, Russians as enemies are less intimidating than they used to be. Fair. It'll be interesting to see how things go because, yeah, I mean, yes, I've been following the same news as everyone, and I'm not qualified to say intelligent things about Ukraine, though I am definitely solidly on the side of Ukraine should not have been invaded, and Russia does not own that territory and needs to leave it. I'm not a well-informed, well-educated commentator beyond that opinion, but I certainly hope that Russia continues to fail, as it has been failing so far, to secure Ukraine for themselves. And yeah, it'll be interesting. You know, I'm playing this game 3 years after its original release. It'll be interesting to see 3 years from now what our perspective is on Russia and that entire situation. It's such a volatile one. It's just. Yeah, I don't know. There's just so many people's lives that are hanging in the balance on the outcome of what goes on in Eastern Ukraine right now. And so I'm just like, I'm nervous to say anything because, you know, YouTube videos are kind of, they're up there indefinitely. And yeah, I'm just really hoping that that things go well in the future. I'm going to stop talking just because I don't know I don't know the right things to say.
I'm not getting out of here. Let's do this.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All clear, Captain.
Roger. All stations on my mark. 3, 2, 1. Karim! Mother Russia would approve. Where to?
Kazakhstan. Home.
And at the end, we get hit in the face by a helicopter. Oh, not quite the end. This is the leader of the CIA faction that was supporting them.
Tea.
Yeah, well, I'm a long way from a proper pint.
Russia disowned Barkov.
Well, they didn't have much choice, did they? He's dead.
You took a big bite out of that problem, John.
For now. But left unchecked.
It won't be. General Shepard pulled the files you asked for. What exactly is this about?
A task force.
We already have loose ends.
Then I will tie them.
I can fund assets, not outlaws.
Enjoy the tea, then.
Sakhayev wants Barkov's throne.
I almost buried him in Pripyat with Macmillan.
That was the father. This is the son, Victor.
Lovely family.
They're big fans of Hadir's.
Well, that would explain why he's still alive.
They're gonna get him out.
They give me what I need.
Feels like we're setting up a sequel here.
Who's your crew?
Sergeant Gary.
Kyle?
They call him Gaz. He never said anything.
By the way, Undead Mark pointed out that the hair in this scene is incredible. So I just wanted to call that out while you still have time to pay attention to the hair. He's right. It is unusual to see hair this good in a video game cutscene. It's pre-rendered, which is part of what makes that possible. But yeah, it's still crazy even for a pre-rendered cutscene.
John McTavish, SAS, sniper, demolitions, goes by Soap.
Soap!
Why?
It's classified. There he is. Simon Riley.
Ghost?
There's no picture.
Never. Now the rest. That's neat to know. Unless we got a deal.
What are you calling this task force?
141.
So that last bit was just basically for people who've played the previous Modern Warfare games. Those are recognizable names and characters from the previous Modern Warfare games. And that's all they were going for, was that sort of like Marvel ending tag recognition moment. That's what that was. But for Call of Duty nerds instead of Marvel nerds. All right. Well, I do generally have a policy of watching the credits, so I guess we can hang out for a little bit while the credits play. So I played the demo of Modern Warfare 2. It wasn't really a demo. It was a beta. It was the multiplayer beta of Modern Warfare 2, and it wasn't like I sucked at it. I was really, really terrible. Like, I'm usually a little bit bad at new Call of Duties until I sort of get into the swing of things and sort of find my way. And actually, they deliberately really, really restricted your access to weapons. So the only weapons I had access to were not the type of weapons that I typically excel with. We had some very sort of like low accuracy, high fire rate type weapons, and I tend to be much more like Scar H, big, heavy, slow shots is sort of more my speed. Like I use the BAR constantly in Vanguard, for instance. That's sort of where my headspace is at. So I didn't really get that. One thing that I noticed they were doing, though, that also kind of affected my ability to excel at it. One thing, the factor was probably the people who were playing the beta are the most hardcore Call of Duty fans. And so not a lot of noobs in there. And I think maybe that as a mid-range player, I need a lot of noobs in order to feel like I'm succeeding. But also, there's a lot more like physical modeling of the movement of the gun in reaction to shooting. The kind of thing that you kind of expect from Battlefield. Battlefield does a lot of that, like your gun feels like a mobile thing that when you fire it, it sort of like jitters around and it's very hard to control. And it gives it that sense of that physical sense of like weight and power, but it sort of loses you that sense of locked in precision that you usually get from Call of Duty. And so it felt like it was like that they were sort of not quite splitting the difference, but they were moving in the direction of Battlefield with the way it feels to control the gun, rather than feeling it sort of locked in and just like precise as you often feel in Call of Duty. And so because I'm much more of a Call of Duty tuned player, the fact that it was diverting a little bit from what I was accustomed to in Call of Duty made it more difficult for me to play effectively. But they were doing some interesting things. I think that, you know, their gun modification stuff looked interesting and cool. One thing that was weird for me is the way that perks worked. And I don't know how close this is, like how much this might vary over time as they uncap your ability to level up and you sort of earn more advancements. But what it seemed like was perks came in packages, almost like classes. And instead of like mixing and matching a set of perks that were always active, you would progress through earning a series of perks over the course of a match. And so you'd like choose like a stealth package and you get quieter and quieter basically over the course of a match. That kind of thing. I'm not sure how I feel about that, just because I really liked the game of mixing and matching the perks, deciding which set of them worked for me. I did kind of appreciate the fact, like, the stealth perks in particular are always weird and confusing. Like, there's like 4 different ways that an enemy can detect you, and they'll give you like 4 different perks for eliminating each of them, and you can't have them all at once. And so, like, if you try to get clever with it, sometimes you can just forget what can see you and what can't with a given class in Call of Duty. I definitely appreciate the idea that they've kind of like simplified that down, and there's like a stealth package. You pick stealth and you're stealthy, and you don't have to have all that confusion. That's nice. I don't know how I feel about progressing through additional perks over the course of the game, just because it's easy to lose track of what your abilities are. Like, if you always lose them all at the start of a new match and you have to gain them procedurally over time, or not procedurally like implying that it's random, but like, you know, steadily over time, step by step over time, I'm not sure how aware I'm actually going to be of my own capabilities at any given moment in a match. So that makes me a little bit nervous. So, like, but at the same time, it looked really sweet, you know? And I've been playing in World War II for a while with Vanguard, and so switching over to this one, like, the more of the modern weapons again and stuff like that, I think it'll be an interesting, cool change of pace. But I'm not completely sold on it yet. So we'll have to see how it is when it comes out. I mean, I'm definitely getting it. You know, I get every Call of Duty every year. But the question is this year I'm actually already obsessed with another video game. I'm already playing Vigor every day. And so the thing I'm really curious about is Modern Warfare 2, with all of the sort of questionable aspects of it, is it going to be able to peel me off Vigor? Or is Vigor going to hold its ground, and is Call of Duty going to bounce off? I genuinely don't know, which is usually I just know Call of Duty is going to be the thing I'm playing through November, December, January, and into February before I move on to something else. It always dominates my life for a little while. I don't know if it will this year. We'll have to see. Let's see. Let me catch up a little bit. So average Twitch user just watched my video where I discussed why we don't have children in State of Decay 2, and he was making a prediction that we might have children in State of Decay 3. But yeah, obviously I'm not going to respond to that. So, and he already predicted I wasn't going to respond. He just wanted to make sure that I saw that he had made that prediction. So, big shrug over here. Yeah, so Undead Mark says he actually liked how the perk progression sort of changed the match as it neared the end. But yeah, he wasn't sure how it would land in the long run. You are right that if people actually can keep a handle on what their capabilities are and really use them effectively, then having the later part of the match be a little crazier, a little more super heroic than the beginning of the match does sound like it could make the cadence of the game more interesting. So yeah, so a lot of these things that I'm and the my nervousness about it moving towards a more Battlefield gun handling model. All of these could actually end up being really good things that make the game interesting and cool and novel. And that's a difficult thing. I mean, when you're working on an annual franchise, which I've never done, but when you're working on an annual franchise, one of the biggest problems is distinguishing your work, making your game feel like there's a reason to have this one and not to just roll your eyes and keep playing the old one. That's such a challenge. So it will be really interesting. Even if it ends up not being my favorite Call of Duty for whatever reason, the fact that it is different from other Call of Duties at least gives it a unique value, and it makes it an interesting thing to play, and an interesting sort of a stake in the ground, a reference point for sort of figuring out, well, what is my ideal Call of Duty experience? So Coalición is pointing out that he actually really liked a lot of the songs, a lot of the music in this Call of Duty, more so than previous Call of Duties. I'm one of those players who I tend to get caught up in the music while I'm playing a game, and I don't really notice it exclusively. I don't really single it out. And some people are like that. Some people, whatever. The movie podcast that I listen to, the Empire Movie Podcast, they've got one critic on their staff who notices the soundtrack every single time, and it's his job to bring up the soundtrack. His name's Amon Warman. He's pretty cool, but he so it's funny, the rest of the critics always kind of make a joke out of the fact that, oh yeah, now it's time for Amon to tell us about the soundtrack, because none of the rest of us noticed what was going on. So I'm kind of like that. Occasionally there will be a song or a moment that really catches my eye, or an entire soundtrack that really gets my attention, but that's fairly rare. Thinking about soundtracks that gain my attention, let me see. So I know that this is for a lot of people. The final suicide mission, the final escape at the end of Mass Effect 2, has got this really emotional, inspiring score to it that a lot of people remembered. And I actually bought it on iTunes, and I've got it somewhere in my library. Other video game soundtracks that I actually listen to. I should actually look at my phone. My phone probably will tell me what video game soundtracks I've got. We got to kill time somehow while these interminable credits are running. By the way, one of my favorite gags. So the first Modern Warfare 2, it came out at the height of the tension between Activision and Infinity Ward that led to a lot of Infinity Ward's key developers leaving and founding Respawn. It was right at the height when the game came out, and so there is this one of the most hilarious corporate fingers in the eye I've ever seen in a video game, where basically they did these slow, loving, fawning credits for all the staff in Infinity Ward. They put their pictures on the screen and special messages and all this. The Infinity Ward credits were amazing, and then they brought up Activision credits and then rocketed them through at 5 times speed. And just blasted. So you couldn't read. You could barely read a single name in the Activision credits, and that wasn't fair. Most of the people in those credits had nothing to do with the tensions between Infinity Ward and Activision. But as a player, being aware of the tensions, playing to the end of that game and seeing that just poke in the eye, I just laughed my head off. It's one of the funniest jokes I've ever seen in a video game. But you needed all of this external context to understand why it was funny, but it was really, really funny. So hopefully the people who, were not responsible for those tensions on the Activision side didn't feel too bad about it, because it did mostly affect them. I hope maybe some of them thought it was funny too. I don't know. So, Mark says that Red Dead Redemption 1 had a great song when you're making the trek to Mexico. That really stood out to him. Let me see. Which albums did I... So, Risk of Rain has a pretty good soundtrack. Ooh, Darren Korb's soundtracks for the Supergiant games are always really, really good. Bastion, Transistor, all of those games, they've got amazing soundtracks, just on the whole. Hyper Light Drifter has a really interesting soundtrack that I like. A lot of the soundtracks that I love tend to be... Darren Korb's soundtracks tend to have this sort of, classic, almost like you're sitting next to a fire with a cowboy sort of sound to them. Hyper Light Drifter and Risk of Rain have a little bit more like an electronic, weird, out there from space kind of soundtrack. Ori and the Blind Forest is another really good one, but that one's more of a classic, sort of a classic orchestral soundtrack. It's less like a lot of the other video game soundtracks that I listen to, but it's really good and really memorable. Brigador. So Brigador is kind of an obscure indie game. It's like a mech battling game, sort of isometric, running around in an environment that feels like it comes out of the 90s, which is great. But their electronic soundtrack is it's brilliant. I listen to it to help me sleep. The Ascent is another one. It's got a really great synthwavey sort of soundtrack to it that I really liked. I actually bought the soundtrack to Naruto Boy. I don't listen to it that much, but it was another one of those really novel synthwave. I love synthwave, and so anything that's got a synthwavey sort of vibe to it, I tend to grab. Invisible Ink is another one that's really good. Hey, look, a picture of these guys, one of whom is dead. Awesome. Corndog, I think I remember liking the How to Train Your Dragon soundtrack, which Corndog just brought up as a good one. Oh, what is this? After credits tag in a video game? Don't get these a lot. Who is that? Zakayev? I hope they explain that. I don't know what that was.
City's under evacuation. Alcatala's got complete control.
This place was nice once, but it's not anymore. East and West rebuilt Verdansk after the Cold War.
You didn't like that cooperation. Now they've got armor, heavy weapons.
Terrorists with tanks. Who's at the helm?
Someone new.
Nice fit. What's his name?
We don't know, but he's got friends in high places.
This is Russian intel. Where do we get this?
My counterpart in Moscow.
The CIA working with the FSB.
Not the first time.
Kamarov.
Captain Price. Nikolai. Been a bad boy.
From you, that's a compliment.
Please. We're all friends here. I owed you. To Beirut.
Sergeant Kamarov is going to help conduct this operation.
These new weapons give Alcatala's the power to turn acts of terror into acts of war. This is a problem. For everyone.
We're launching a multilateral force to hunt AQ's new leader and contain this threat while we still can.
Okay, we're in. Start up your teams. Let's operate.
So is that I thought the previous conversation was a setup for Modern Warfare 2. Was that the setup for Modern Warfare 2? I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Oh, wait. The story continues in Spec Ops? Was that the next Call of Duty? I don't remember now. Anyway, we completed the campaign. Awesome. We're done. All right. Undead Mark is pointing out that the hair still looks good even in a slightly lower quality cutscene. Yeah, you know, this team really outdid themselves in terms of the visuals. I mean, this stuff looks really, really nice. Anyway, yeah, so that was Modern Warfare 1. So a little less than a month from now, we're going to get Modern Warfare 2. So now I actually have enough context to understand the campaign, though true to form, I'm probably just going to jump right into the multiplayer. So sometime in November, you're probably going to see me streaming the multiplayer of Modern Warfare 2, probably getting my butt handed to me, and that will be fine. Everyone's used to it. There's a subscribe button. Here is links to other videos. Yeah, maybe I'll stick some old Call of Duty over here or something. I don't know.